At it. As you see, you got the floor pan back in the jig with the frame rails. Bunch of holes located on there for where it goes into the car. Holes elongated there. I got a bunch of holes to drill across the front there, and then a bunch of cleaning up inside of here for where the the trunk pan goes. So here we go. There's a shock tower, the rear shock tower, which is probably going to get cut eventually for the mini tubs. Same thing with over in here. So basically all I'm going to do is clean up, paint down inside the where our rear support braces with some that gallon of Eastwood's paint that I got, and copper weld-through primer all along the front, all along there. Down in here is where the frame rail goes, up in there. Over in here, frame rail also. So I need to copper spray, paint, and fix a couple of places where I hammered through with the panel cutter. And in case you wonder why we're replacing quarters, take a look at that stuff right there. Ah, yeah, multi-layer of metal on the outside of that. It was completely hosed, this rear quarter. And you see the inner rear well's not doing too well either up in there. And the same thing with that one. It's pretty nasty. So now, yeah, I do have rear quarters for it. I was hoping to have them done by now, but well, like I said in the last video, I decided to work on the house. So there we go. Got most of well, I want cleaned up in there. Just like I said, that shock tower is getting cut out for the wheel tub. Same up in there. See up top here. And down in there through the speaker hole for where the trunk pan's getting welded to. All those flanges are cleaned up. I took a brush down in there. Just rough up the old red primer that's down in there, and then the same thing with down on the frame rails. Let's see if we can get that a little bit brighter. There we go. Clean the paint off of there so I can spray the copper weld through. Same thing with underneath, and same thing all along where that's going to go. Here's where the weld through, and then let that dry for a bit. There for rust proofing, down alongside where the frame rails go, and paint inside of there until it's dry overnight, and try to paint up in there where I can with the brush. Alright, yeah. On to another day of working on this frame rail, trunk pan, and all that crap. You see, it's up in the air. Drilled a bunch of holes for where we'll be doing welds up along where the frame rail attaches to the floor pan. Got 5 there. I still got to drill that out there. Shit. Needs to be a bunch of weld around there. As far as back that goes on the side, there's 5 there. And then on this, on the inner side, we have focus. We got there you go. 8 holes, and plus also the pass-through holes for the brake lines and fuel lines and stuff. Same on the other side. One thing I'm having a problem is with down there, you see that silver line, that's where it's riding up against the inside of the trunk floor. I got to trim that a little bit. And the reason why I have a cleat coat in there is because a couple holes there at the bottom, or towards the back side of the car, whichever way you want to call it. Gotta drill some holes through there so I can weld it down through the top. That way it's a little easier for me when I go do it. Alright, well, turn this thing on and watch me drill a couple of holes and maybe spray some more weld through primer. So before I go put this thing on, well, another thing I do is trim off the edge here, there, and a little bit of this edge up here has got to get cut off to clear the emergency brake cable hole. I can do it later. But it's a little bit easier now to do because, well, it's out in the open, it's easier. And plus also, since I ran out of copper spray, I have some of this kicked around from Eastwood, so we'll be using that for a little bit so I can get some more copper weld through. Finally, put the frame rails back in the car, and that's be the last time they're going in. So I'll be using a buttload of screws, clecos, clamps, whatever I can do to make sure it doesn't move. Alright, I guess I'm going to go speed through this real quick so you guys don't sit through all the boring stuff, and then I can put some tunes on in the background and listen to that while I'm working. Alright guys, enjoy the YouTube free music. Right, now 100 some odd screws later, we're in. And I did a couple of test welds over there for something I'll try, and it's gonna work out pretty good. I wish I would have learned that before, but that's fine. So all right, I'm gonna put the fixture in that I made, and I'll show that because I don't think I ever did. It's pretty easy. I just need to go bring the floor jack over, but that little cross piece that's there, I might have to modify that because I think I stripped the threads on it. All right, well, here we go. So yeah, I had to dick with it a little bit, get it up in there. It fits. Fits like it's supposed to. Except for this side here is a little high by about lower than 1/8 of an inch. Not much you can do about it. Maybe add some weight to it inside the trunk floor there to help weigh it down a little bit. But the one thing problem I had was when I was putting the tail panel on test fitting before, this side is a little high, like 3/8 of an inch. So I think when I go to do the tail panel and the rear cross member and all that stuff, drill a hole in the floor, and then wrap it around the rear spring pocket there, and or ratchet strap it around the rear spring pocket, and just crank it down in place. Either that, I might get some all thread and a turnbuckle. We'll see what I do. But all right, for the time being, now I'm gonna go weld this in. All right, I guess I should do maybe a hyperlapse or something like that on my phone. Yeah, let's do a hyperlapse. All right. Off to welding. This little trick I learned in the airwaves the other day from a guy from John from Vintage Vinyl Garage. He restores Firebirds and stuff. Pretty cool channel. But what he does is he puts a bunch of screws in and then takes them out. Welds a couple, takes a couple out, welds a couple, takes them out. What he does is he takes a drill, 1/4 inch bit, drills just through the thickness of the trunk floor and a little bit into the frame rail to give you a place to start. What it does is it gives you a nice flat weld. That way it kind of looks factory. Not that I really care if it does or doesn't, but it just gives it a flat, gives it down to the frame rail, and gives you pretty good penetration throughout. So let's give it a whirl. A couple. Come on. May have to get the angle out for that one. Oh man, let's just give it a shot. See, yeah, it fits. That's really it. Let's take a look at it. Give it a ride here real quick. So you can see it down in there. It's not really a whole lot of drilling we're doing. Just enough to get down into that frame rail itself. a little bit, and it gives us a place to start. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start out in the center there, bring it up, and just wrap it around with the weld. All right, here we go. That works pretty dang good. Let's take a look at it real quick. There you go. Don't mind that one. Have a little extra space in there underneath the fill. All right. I'll repeat this by, I don't know, 70 or so. All right. I'll show you when I'm done with what I got. Alright, so I just showed you guys welding the driver's side in. I'm not bother to show you the welding the passenger side because, well, it's the same as the driver's side. Yeah, the welds look like crap, but they're hot, they're heavy, and they should hold, hopefully. The stuff that I welded on the floor there for the new metal is, of course, welded perfectly, and the stuff up on the old metal where it's kind of thin and rusty and all hogged out, yeah, not so much. Alright, time to go underneath and take care of the few holes where I could have reached what the jig had put into place, and time to take that guy out. Alright, after a long, hot and sweaty and humidity 2 days, trunk pan frame rails are all finally welded back in, for the most part. There's some stuff I want to do once it gets back up on the rotisserie, clean up some welds, fill up some stuff, hammer some flanges back down into place where they needed to be, and other than that, I can move on to the rear cross member, which I already started because I was just kind of curious about a few things since I've actually never put one of those in before. It's the that part right there on top of the car, and it goes in, there we go, in the back there. Alright, I guess it'll be the end of this video, and until the next time, thanks for watching.